my goodness, summer has nearly come to an end, and I grew a fair amount of ground covers and sort of container plants this year, so I thought I'll take you through some
So out of the blue flowers
what
that I grew,
worked for me and
this
what didn't.
convolvulus, it did pretty well. One thing I should clarify is that I didn't really regularly fertilize them in the ways that I should have. So, I mean, it's in pots, right? So I should regularly fertilize them, like, you know, use a liquid fertilizer at least once a week, and maybe use some granular organic fertilizer once a month, something like that. I left the whole of spring unfertilized, and then we come into summer, and then my plants were struggling a bit. I noticed it, and then I started fertilizing. So with that caveat in mind, judge the performance of my plants based on what I did. Anyway, regardless, this blue sort of convolvulus that I planted in order to achieve a kind of an overall blue purplish look for this area did pretty okay. It did tend to slow down like in midsummer. It didn't have too many flowers, and then I had to cut it back a little bit, and then it's got a flush. I think this will go until maybe even late September, October. It's very pretty, so I think it's definitely worth growing. But was it the top bluish lilac-y container thriller best performing bluish lilac-y flower? Not really. It's double lilac bacopa, right? So very pretty flowers. It was very numerous, but the problem with the bacopas is that from time to time they lose all of their flowers at once, so they all of the flowers dry out, and then it'll take a few days for the flowers to regenerate, and you do have to help it along by deadheading. So maybe not. So the next lot I want to talk about is the blue type flowers. So these are lobelia. I can't remember what I think this is it was just called trailing blue. Now it's very pretty, very blue, or rather it's a deep indigo sort of blue, very nice. However, the problem is, I'll show you. It can look like this if you don't water it regularly. It can happen without you even realizing it. If I had maintained it as it should have been maintained, this would have done really well. As it is, it does produce a lovely sort of container. I like the blues of this Cambridge blue even more, I think. And this is also a lobelia, and like I said, the variety is called Cambridge blue. It's a very nice near sky blue. Let me just adjust the color so it's more true to color. Yeah, I think this is more like it. Yeah, it's very pretty. Again, the same problem. You need to water it regularly and not forget, like I did. Brachysome, on the other hand, did really well. So it's a bit lighter in color than the other guys. No, that's not true. Let me try and get the right shading. Yeah, I think this is more true to form, really. This took a little bit of time to get going. It got affected by all of the snails, but once it did start to get going, it produces flowers, I think I'm going to say pretty much non-stop, and I don't deadhead this. So the winner for me is this one out of the mauve lilac group. Right, so the next color group that I really tried to focus on this year is apricot. And the two flowers that I had were this lanai peach verbena, and I had that coral colored Calibrachoa. I'm going to say both of them did okay. The Calibrachoa actually is a more vigorous plant and put up with all of my nonsense and lack of care, whereas the verbena did get spider mites. Now, in the pink category, I have this beautiful Diacia, and I have this double-petaled petunia. The Diacia, it can look a bit raggedy from time to time, so it can sort of bloom along this stalk, and that stalk needs to be deadheaded. The petunia, on the other hand, if it rains, can really collapse in on itself and look really ugly, so that needs deadheading. I also had this really nice pink nemesia, which did well. In terms of the yellow flowers, I didn't have too much. I just had this osteospermum, which requires a little bit of time to get going, and only now is producing lots of flowers. Same with this other pink osteospermum that I had. It's only now that I'm getting lots of flowers. In terms of it being a container plant, it can grow up to be
a little bit too big for the containers that I have. I do have a few more plants to show off and review and talk about, so I'll do that in the next part. See you soon.